When most people think of Roman legions, they picture armored soldiers marching in perfect formation, shields raised and banners flying. But every army in history has faced a quieter, more personal enemy: winter nights. The Roman Empire stretched across climates where icy winds and snow were as dangerous as enemy arrows, from the mountains of Germania to the frontiers of Britain. Survival in these conditions required more than swords and discipline. It demanded knowledge of how to rest, restore, and stay alive when the temperature dropped. The legions became masters of adaptation, developing clever low-tech methods to endure freezing conditions without modern bedding, insulated houses, or even reliable fuel. Their hacks for sleeping through bitter winters reveal both the toughness of ancient soldiers and the practicality of human ingenuity. And, interestingly, many of these same tricks still carry lessons for us today, not only for survivalists, but also for gardeners and homesteaders who work with the rhythms of the natural world. To understand how the Romans endured cold nights is to rediscover knowledge that is both ancient and evergreen. The Roman soldier's woolen cloak, called the sagum, was much more than a garment. Legionnaires wrapped themselves tightly in it at night, using its coarse fibers to trap body heat. The trick lay not in a single layer, but in how they folded and overlapped it to create air pockets that worked like insulation. By pinning it at the shoulder, they could even cover their head and feet, turning a cloak into something like a primitive sleeping bag. For men sleeping on frozen ground, this was the difference between rest and hypothermia. The Romans knew that heat was strongest when pooled together. Soldiers often slept pressed side by side, aligning their cloaks to conserve warmth as a unit. In larger tents, 6 to 8 men might rest in a shared space, their combined body heat transforming a freezing shelter into something survivable. Direct contact with frozen ground is deadly, draining body heat faster than most realize. Roman legionnaires quickly learned to improvise raised beds by laying down layers of branches, straw, or even their shields beneath them. While open fires were a luxury that couldn't always be risked on campaign, Roman camps were organized with strict fire management. Soldiers dug shallow fire pits lined with stones, which allowed flames to burn hotter and more efficiently. Wherever the legions marched, they gathered local vegetation to form bedding. Straw, reeds, or pine boughs were layered thickly to create padding and insulation. Not only did this lift them from the cold earth, it also trapped air in the plant material, creating a surprisingly effective mattress. The Romans were pragmatic about sleep. In the depths of winter, they often rested in shorter shifts rather than attempting long, uninterrupted sleep. Watches were rotated so that soldiers could wake, move about, and keep blood flowing before returning to rest. Perhaps the most overlooked Roman hack for winter sleep was not physical at all, but mental. Discipline was drilled into every soldier, and that included the ability to rest even in discomfort. The legionnaire's mindset allowed him to adapt to poor conditions without breaking down. The ingenuity of Roman legionnaires shows us that survival in harsh climates is not about luxury, but about adaptation. They had no down jackets, no modern sleeping bags, no central heating. Yet they endured centuries of campaigns across frozen Europe by learning to maximize what they had: wool, straw, fire, stones, and one another. For gardeners today, these hacks are more than just historical trivia. They highlight the universality of natural principles: layering for insulation, conserving heat, using thermal mass, and relying on community. These methods remind us that survival skills are always rooted in understanding nature's patterns. When electricity fails or when harsh weather strikes, the same low-tech methods that saved legionnaires can still keep us warm and resilient. The story of Roman legionnaires enduring ancient winters isn't just about history. It's about human ingenuity and the timeless wisdom of working with nature instead of against it. These sleep hacks were born out of necessity, yet they remain relevant for anyone seeking resilience in a world where the basics of warmth, food, and shelter still matter. If you found this dive into ancient survival knowledge valuable, Don't forget to subscribe to In the Beginning and share this with fellow history lovers and gardeners. Together, we'll continue unearthing the old world skills that still hold power in our modern lives.